From the outside, Anita's house looked like everything was under control. Smooth white walls, well-trimmed hibiscus flowers, and that silver Corolla parked like it owned the street. People envied her, some even prayed to have her kind of peace. But inside those walls, something bitter was boiling. Anita ran her boutique like a military camp, everything in place, everything spotless. She liked things neat. Her wigs were always brushed, her brows sharp, and her phone full of alerts. She didn't have time for nonsense. David, her boyfriend, was easy on the eyes and smoother than a Lagos DJ. Tall, clean, and always smelling fresh. He didn't say much, but when he spoke, women listened. Especially one woman who had no business listening. Joy, the house girl. She'd been with Anita for almost a year. Came from somewhere near Owerri. Quiet girl. Always doing something, sweeping, peeling, pounding. Called Anita like it was stitched on her tongue. She minded her business, until her eyes started staying too long on David. It started the evening Anita ran to get suya from the junction. David was waiting in the parlor. Joy came in with a cup of malt and a smile that stayed longer than usual. Her wrapper was loose and her blouse? Let's just say it wasn't what Anita bought her. David looked up. Their eyes met. No one said anything. But something shifted. After that, things weren't the same. Joy began humming love songs in the kitchen. Her skirts got tighter. David started dropping by unannounced, especially when Anita was at the shop. And Anita? She started noticing things, perfume that wasn't hers, wrappers missing from the line, laughter that cut off when she entered. But what would she say? David, are you eyeing the house girl? Joy, why is your lip shining like that? It sounded foolish in her mouth. And so, she said nothing. Sometimes, silence is more dangerous than words. Especially when it's covering up betrayal. Anita didn't grow up with much, but she never let poverty wrap itself around her twice. She fought her way up, through burnt jollof in her first food stand, missed rents, and a heartbreak that almost swallowed her. By the time she met David, she wasn't looking for love. She was looking for peace. At first, he gave her that. The kind of peace that made you sleep with your door open and laugh at things you didn't find funny before. He showed up, stayed late, called when he said he would. Even Anita's older sister, who didn't like anybody, said, "This one looks serious." But now, that peace was cracking like dry harmattan skin. Joy had started moving differently. That respectful, "Good morning, Ma," now came with eyes that didn't quite match the tone. Her steps were slower, her hips swayed more than usual, and she was always, somehow, in the same room with David. One afternoon, Anita came home early. She had forgotten her POS machine at home and rushed back from the boutique. As she opened the front door, she heard laughter, low, sweet, and coming from the kitchen. She walked in quietly. Joy was by the sink, pretending to wash plates. David leaned against the counter, grinning like he just heard a joke from inside his chest. "What's funny?" Anita asked, her voice calm but sharp. Joy jumped. "Ah, Ma, I didn't know you were back." David scratched his head. "Nothing serious, babe. She was just telling me how one customer almost beat her because of pepper." Anita stared at them. Something in her gut twitched. "Joy, go and wash the bathroom," she said without looking at her. Joy nodded and left. David moved toward Anita, tried to peck her cheek, but she turned away. "Since when did she start chatting with you like that?" she asked. David shrugged. "You're overthinking again." That night, Anita didn't sleep well. Her dreams were scattered. When she woke up, she made a decision. She would watch them both. Closely. Silently. Because sometimes, catching a snake means not shouting when you see the tail. Anita started watching like a cat that had tasted rat before. She didn't shout, didn't scold, didn't throw plates. She simply began to pay attention, not just to what was being done, but to what was being hidden. Joy noticed. You can't live in someone's house and not know when their eyes have changed. Anita's greetings grew shorter. Instructions came sharper. Even the way she handed Joy money for Gary, her fingers no longer brushed Joy's palm. It was as if the air between them had become stiff. David, on the other hand, acted as if everything was normal. Too normal. Always playing with the remote, talking about football, laughing when nothing was funny. That kind of laughter that smells like guilt. Then came Sunday. After church, Anita cooked white rice and chicken stew. She called Joy to set the table. David was already home, scrolling through his phone. As they sat to eat, Joy placed Anita's plate gently before her, smiling small. Anita looked up. Their eyes locked, just for a second. She didn't smile back. Midway through the meal, Anita dropped her spoon. She wasn't full. She was watching. Watching how Joy looked at David. Watching how David asked for more meat and Joy giggled as she gave him the biggest piece. Later that evening, Anita pretended to sleep on the couch. Joy came into the parlor thinking she was alone. Her wrapper was tied tight, her lips glossed, and she walked barefoot, the kind of walk you only use when you're hunting something softly. She tapped David on the shoulder. He turned, surprised. "Auntie is asleep?" she whispered. David hesitated. Yes, she had a long day. Joy looked down, then back at him. "Do you want me to bring cold water?" Before he could answer, Anita sat up. "No need. I'm not sleeping again." The air stood still. Joy's eyes widened. David scratched his neck like something bit him. Anita smiled, not from her lips, but from somewhere deeper. The kind of smile that comes before war. From that moment, everyone in the house started choosing their steps. The silence grew louder, and betrayal hung in the air like palm oil on white cloth. From that evening, Anita stopped playing soft. She didn't accuse, didn't point fingers. But her house began to feel like a courtroom, and she was the judge. Every movement, every word, every plate placed too gently, she noticed it. Joy felt it too. She used to sing while washing plates. Now, her lips stayed dry. Her slippers stopped making noise on the tiles. Even her coughs came quietly. David pretended not to see the storm brewing. He still came around, still laughed too hard, still picked out his meat before touching the rice. But Anita had changed. Her questions had layers. Her jokes carried thorns. "Joy, you like this house, Abi?" Joy blinked. "Yes, Ma." "Good. People don't know what they have until poison chases them out." Joy nodded slowly, not sure whether to laugh or say amen. One night, Anita couldn't sleep. Her mind spun like a ceiling fan on full speed. So she got up and went to the kitchen to boil water. As she opened the cupboard, something fell, a small bottle, dark green, with no label. She picked it up. It had no smell, but the liquid inside moved thickly. She didn't panic. The next morning, she called Joy into the kitchen. "What's this?" she asked, holding the bottle. Joy's face dropped, then picked itself up again. "It's for cockroach, Ma." "Where did you buy it?" "One woman near the market. She sells all those local things." Anita said nothing. She opened the bottle, poured a little into the sink, and rinsed her hands. Joy stood still. That evening, Anita cooked herself a small pot of soup. She didn't let Joy near the kitchen. David came around as usual, asking what smelled so good. Anita served him with her own hand. Sat opposite him. Watched every spoonful. "Joy didn't cook today," she said suddenly. David paused. "Why?" "She's been feeling dizzy. Maybe from all the things she's been mixing." David looked up, confused. Anita smiled, slowly, sweetly, dangerously. That night, she didn't sleep again. She lay beside her thoughts, staring at the ceiling. The bottle was now in her drawer. And the plan that formed in her heart was no longer about saving the relationship. It was about catching fire with bare hands, without getting burned. The next morning, Anita moved like rain that doesn't make noise, steady, soaking, dangerous. She called Joy and handed her 5,000 Nigerian nairas. Go to the market, she said. Buy ogbono, tomatoes, and that same pepper you used last week. And don't forget Maggi cubes. Joy looked surprised. Yes, Ma, I will go now. As she left the gate, Anita called her neighbor, Auntie Remy, a retired nurse who knew herbs, gossip, and danger when she smelled it. Please, help me check something, Anita said, placing the green bottle in her palm. She said it's for cockroach. But something is not adding up. Auntie Remy held the bottle to the light. She didn't need to sniff it twice. Her face changed immediately. This is not insecticide, she said. This one is made to harm. Even a teaspoon can turn someone's stomach inside out. Anita nodded. She didn't cry. She didn't shake. She just took the bottle back and said, "Thank you, Ma." By the time Joy returned from the market, Anita had cleared the kitchen. Every spice, every powder, every bottle, locked away. You will not be cooking again, she said calmly. Joy blinked. Why, Ma? I want to try fasting and cooking by myself for a while. Let's see how holy I can become. Joy forced a smile and nodded. But her hands were shaking as she unpacked the basket. That evening, David came again. This time, Anita didn't smile much. She served him dinner, sat beside him, and held her chin as he chewed. I want to ask you something, she said softly. He swallowed. Go ahead. If I told you someone was planning to poison me, what would you say? David laughed nervously. Ha! Why would anyone want to poison you? Maybe jealousy. Maybe love. She looked him dead in the eye. Maybe because I'm standing in their way. David's face changed. Anita, what are you talking about? She stood up. Don't worry. When it's time, you'll understand. For now, just chew slowly. He looked down at his plate. Upstairs, Joy sat on her mattress, her eyes wide open in the dark. Her heart was racing. Because sometimes, the scariest thing is not when someone shouts. It's when they go quiet and stay watching. By the end of the week, the house no longer felt like a home. It felt like a waiting room, where everyone sat pretending while danger paced outside the door. Anita had stopped all Joy's kitchen duties, but she didn't send her away. No. She wanted her close, where she could be watched. Like a snake under a glass jar. Joy was now on edge. She avoided eye contact, kept her answers short, and her steps light. But guilt has a way of soaking through the skin. Even silence started sounding like an alarm. Then came Saturday. David showed up with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I brought ice cream, he said. Anita took the nylon, placed it in the freezer without a word. They sat in the living room, pretending to watch TV. But the air between them was louder than the volume. Joy passed behind them with a broom, and Anita watched the way David's eyes followed her just a little too long. I want to ask you again, she said, her voice smooth. David didn't respond. Did you sleep with her? David blinked. Anita. Answer me. He looked at the floor. It wasn't planned. It just happened. She didn't slap him. She didn't scream. She just nodded slowly. How many times? Twice. Maybe 3. I don't know. Anita stood up and walked to the window. You gave her my body cream, didn't you? He didn't answer. She laughed lightly. You two deserve each other. David stood up. Babe, please. Don't call me that, she snapped, her voice finally cracking. I gave you everything. My peace, my trust, even my weekends. And you gave me betrayal in wrapper and slippers. He tried to move closer. She stepped back. Leave. David hesitated. Now, David. He left. Quietly. Upstairs, Joy had heard everything. Her hands shook as she folded her clothes. She knew the war had shifted. This wasn't about a man anymore. It was about survival. Because Anita had stopped fighting like a woman trying to save her relationship. Now, she was moving like a woman with nothing to lose. And that kind of woman is the most dangerous of all. The next morning, the house felt hollow, like something had died, but no one said a word. David didn't come. His calls went unanswered. His texts remained unread. Anita moved through the house with quiet precision, her eyes dry, her voice even. Joy tried to disappear into walls, but the walls weren't thick enough. Anita had seen everything. Now, she was just deciding what to do with it. She called her cousin Favor over. "Come and stay with me for a few days," she said. "I need someone around." Favor was a sharp-tongued makeup artist who smelled of vanilla and minded nobody's business unless it was juicy. When she arrived, she hugged Anita tight. "You day calm, but your eyes look like fire." Anita just smiled. "Help me wash Joy's room. I want to give her a surprise." Favor raised a brow. "Surprise cool? Hope it's not the kind that comes with slap." Anita laughed, but didn't answer. Favor entered the small room, opened the wardrobe, and froze. She stepped out, holding a pink pouch. Inside were notes. Notes written in Joy's handwriting. About Anita. About David. About the plan to deal with her slowly. About making her weak enough so she won't fight back. Favor gasped. "Babe, this girl day write diary for evil." Anita took the pouch gently. Her face remained calm. But something behind her eyes flickered. "Don't tell her I saw it," she said. "Why?" "Because when you catch a thief, you don't shout. You let them walk into the trap with their own leg." That night, Anita cooked again. She made agbono soup, Joy's favorite. She served 3 plates, called both Favor and Joy to the table. "Sit," she said. Joy hesitated. Anita smiled. "I said, sit." Joy obeyed. They ate quietly, every spoonful heavy. Favor watched the tension like a Nollywood film. Halfway through, Anita dropped her spoon. "So, Joy," she said, still smiling. "Tell me, how do you like your poison served? Hot or cold?" Joy's spoon froze midair. The room went dead silent. Anita stood, pulled out the pink pouch, and dropped it in front of her. "Go ahead. Pick a page. Remind me how you plan to finish me." Joy's lips parted, but no sound came. Anita leaned in. "This is just the beginning." Joy's mouth moved, but no words came. Her eyes darted from Anita to Favor and back again, like a rat trapped in open light. Anita didn't blink. "Say something," she whispered, almost sweetly. "Lie, confess, cry, I'm in the mood for performance." Joy finally spoke, her voice trembling like yam leaf in rain. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Favor scoffed. "You wrote plans, Joy. You wanted to weaken her, slow her down, and then finish her. What were you thinking? That she would die quietly and leave David for you?" Joy shook her head. "It was a mistake." Anita leaned closer, calm but cutting. "A mistake is breaking one plate. Not poisoning someone's food because of a man that can't even iron his shirts." Joy began to cry. Small sobs at first, then louder, the kind that fills the room but changes nothing. Anita stood up and collected the plates. "Eat. Cry. But pack your things. You'll leave first thing tomorrow." Joy dropped her spoon. Favor snapped, "Better eat it, oh. It might be your last warm meal in this house." But Anita wasn't finished. She didn't want to just send Joy away. She wanted her to feel the shame in her bones. So, she picked up her phone, scrolled to the neighborhood WhatsApp group, and typed, "Dear neighbors, I just discovered my house girl has been secretly planning to poison me, all because of a man. I won't shout. I won't disgrace her on the street. But let it be known that betrayal grows even in small wrappers. Thank you. She pressed send. Less than 5 minutes later, her phone started buzzing. Anita, Nawa O. Is this that small joy that greets like angel? I knew that girl's eyes weren't innocent. By morning, the entire street would know. Anita didn't want to hurt her. She wanted the memory of her actions to follow her like body odor. Not just punishment, but lasting shame, the kind you can't rinse off with tears. As she turned off the lights, Joy was still crying. But Anita had no tears left. She'd cried the night David left. Now, she was just cleaning up. By sunrise, the whispers had started. Joy sat outside with her small Ghana must-go bag beside her. Her eyes were swollen, her shoulders drooped. Even the breeze refused to touch her. Neighbors passed by in silence, but their eyes said everything. Some peeped from behind their curtains. Others shook their heads slowly like she was already a cautionary tale. Inside, Anita was sweeping the parlor like nothing had happened. Favor stood by the window, watching. You sure say you go let her walk like that? She asked. Anita didn't look up. Let her walk. Let her carry her disgrace in daylight. If I beat her or throw her out at night, she'll tell another version. But like this, the truth follows her. Favor nodded. I like your style. They heard the knock a few minutes later, soft, like guilt. It was David. He stood at the door holding a bouquet of tired flowers and a plastic bag of fried rice from one of those overpriced restaurants in town. Anita opened the door slowly. Anita, he said. She didn't answer. I heard what happened. I just want to talk. Favor came to the door. You still dey come here after everything? Carry your rice and go a beg. But Anita raised a hand. Let him speak. David sighed. I messed up. I know I did. I don't even know how I allowed that girl get close to me. I wasn't thinking. That's the problem, Anita said quietly. You weren't thinking. You let a stranger into my kitchen, my bed, my trust, and you let her poison it. David looked down. You can keep your rice, she added. Give it to your next mistake. She shut the door slowly, not in anger, but with finality. Outside, Joy stood up. She looked at David, then at Anita through the gate. For the first time, she saw the woman clearly, not just the nice clothes or soft voice, but the fire underneath. Joy walked away without a word. No police. No screaming. No slaps. Just shame wrapped in silence. And as Anita watched them both from her window, she smiled. Not the smile of revenge, but the smile of a woman who had lost everything fake and gained everything true. The house felt lighter. Not because Joy had left, but because the storm had passed and left behind only truth. For the first time in weeks, Anita opened her windows wide. She played Ace's music softly and scrubbed every inch of the house. The kitchen, the bathroom, even the cupboard where the poison bottle once sat, all cleaned like she was removing not just dirt, but memory. Favor sat on the couch, peeling oranges. So what next? You go forgive that David or what? Anita smiled faintly. Forgiveness is not a door I leave open for anybody. It's a key you earn. And David, he lost that key. Favor chuckled. I like this version of you. You're calm, but day bite. Just then, Anita's phone buzzed. A message from David. I know I can't undo what I did. But I still care. Even if it's just friendship, I want to be there. She sighed. Deleted it. No reply. Later that afternoon, a knock came. It was Mom Nkechi, their nosy but sweet neighbor. She brought a bowl of hot okra soup and some advice wrapped in warmth. I hear say you handle that matter like queen, she said, sitting without invitation. No fight, no noise. You just faced your front. Anita smiled. What would shouting have changed? Mom Nkechi nodded. You sabi. That house girl go carry your story reach her village. Next time, she go fear love way no belong to her. They laughed. The kind of laugh that comes after surviving something heavy. By evening, Anita sat alone on her balcony, watching the sun melt behind the rooftops. She held a warm cup of zobo and let her mind rest. She didn't hate Joy. She didn't even hate David anymore. She was just done. Done begging people to choose her. Done explaining her worth. Done pretending not to see when the room turned cold. Now, she saw everything. And she would never let blindness wear love's name again. Peace, once found, doesn't always sit quietly. Sometimes, it stretches its arms, takes up space, and reminds you of who you were before pain came knocking. A week had passed since Joy left. Anita had deep cleaned her home, blocked David's number, and even renamed her boutique, No Second Chances. Customers noticed. "Anita, what's this name about?" they asked with curious smiles. She would shrug, lips curled. "Just business. Nothing personal." But deep down, everything was personal now. Her peace had come at a cost, trust shattered, love deflated, a home turned theater. And still, she stood tall. One morning, while arranging new Ankara arrivals, a young girl walked into the boutique. Slim, wide-eyed, polite. "Good morning, Ma. I heard you might need someone to help with house chores." Anita looked up slowly. The girl reminded her of Joy, same innocence, same quiet voice. But this time, her eyes didn't flinch. "No, dear. Not right now." "Ma," the girl said, curtsying. "God bless you." As the girl left, Anita sighed. Her heart wasn't bitter, just cautious. She could forgive. But she had learned never to forget the signs. That evening, she sat in her parlor, oiling her hair, when Favor burst in with gist. "You won't believe what I just heard. Joy's people called from her village. The girl almost fainted during youth meeting. Doctor said she's been having panic attacks. She's even begging her pastor to help her apologize to you." Anita paused, twisting a section of her hair. Apologize? For what? Loving the wrong person or trying to kill me over him? Both. Favor laughed. "I heard the boy she liked before David just married her cousin. Village drama full ground." Anita smiled. Not with spite, but with clarity. "Life always teaches its own lessons," she said softly. She didn't pray for Joy to suffer. She just prayed that one day, the girl would look back and know she'd poisoned more than food, she had poisoned trust. But even poisoned roots sometimes grow again if given time. And Anita? She was done waiting for anybody's time. She was already blooming. The air was crisp that Sunday morning, like life itself had taken a fresh bath. Anita stood in front of her boutique, adjusting the flower pots by the entrance. A woman passed with her daughter and waved. "Good morning, oh, madam, no second chances." She smiled and waved back. That name had become a nickname on the street. At first, it made her laugh. Now, it made her proud. Inside the boutique, business moved smoothly. No gossip, no tension, just laughter and the soft hum of a radio. Anita's hands danced over fabrics, folding, arranging, matching colors like she was rebuilding her soul with every piece. Then, as she stepped outside for fresh air, she saw her. Joy. Standing by the corner. No wrapper. No makeup. Just jeans, slippers, and a paper in her hand. Anita stood still. Their eyes met, not with fire, but with something older, quieter. Joy walked slowly, stopping 2 feet away. "Good morning, Ma." Anita nodded. "Morning." I wrote this," Joy said, holding out the paper. "I know sorry can't fix anything, but I needed to say it. I was stupid. I let attention enter my head and I crossed a line I can never uncross." Anita took the paper, folded it without reading. "You're not a devil, Joy. You're just a girl who let herself be used. But I hope you learn. Life is not Nollywood. Not every mistake gets a second season. Joy's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Thma. I will never forget. Anita didn't hug her. She didn't curse her either. She just said, "Go in peace." As Joy walked away, Favor came from behind. "You know, go read the letter?" Anita smiled faintly. "I already know what's inside. Guilt has only one handwriting." She turned back to her boutique. A woman in control. A woman unbroken. A woman who had tasted betrayal and survived without bitterness. She didn't need revenge. She didn't need to post online. She had healed loudly in silence. And as she flipped the closed sign and locked her shop, she whispered to herself, "Next chapter." Because some stories don't end with tears or applause. They end with peace and begin again with wisdom.